a short while ago, but right now it's looking good, and we're starting on time, thankfully. We welcome you to Great American Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati. The rubber game of this series between division rivals, the Cardinals and the Reds. Hi again, everybody. Alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. Whether the Reds are up or whether the Reds are down, the one guy who seems to be up all the time, and after a little bit of bumpy water there, right after the All-Star break, who is rolling more than Joey Votto right now?
I don't know that anybody is. A little bit of bump in the road, as you mentioned, after the All-Star break. But I think when you watch Joey Votto hit, it comes to mind this guy can pretty much do whatever he puts his mind to do on the baseball field, especially when he's got that bat in his hand. He can walk, he can hit the ball out of the ballpark. You look at those numbers and you think, all right, well, doubles may be a category that you start to improve on at this point. Well, he's already had a couple in the month of August, and I tell you, it's fun to watch him come to the plate every single game.
I just can't believe that 614 on base percentage. I mean, that's
they're comical numbers.
It really is.
But
all right,
Joey Votto.
That's right. All right, let's talk about today's starter for the Reds, Homer Bailey. It seems like he's coming off a really nice start, and we've seen signs in starts, Jeff, that he has a chance to get back to where he once was.
Yeah, I think the first thing that you look at is velocity. You look at arm strength, and I think we've seen that from Homer Bailey. Has he had no-hitter stuff yet? Not quite. I think part of that is getting the breaking ball and the split finger back to where he wants it to be. But I'm seeing location, driving the ball down in the strike zone. But there have been some ball games where there have been some bumps in the road. Even though the numbers in New York did not look good, I thought he threw the ball very well. You're going to have some games like that. But for Homer Bailey right now, he's been able to drive the ball down in the strike zone, locate pitches on both sides, especially the split finger down and into righties. That's a pitch that will work for him well today.
Another guy coming off the disabled list here today. He's only been there for the last 10 days with some back issues. Has been the longtime Cardinal ace who starts it today, Adam Wainwright.
Not quite the same stuff
right
that he had early in his career, Tom, but I think the mind, the heart, this guy can still pitch. You look at the record. The Cardinals play baseball when he comes to the mound. Don't let that ERA fool you.
All right, when we come back, you know where we're going. We're checking in with the main man, Jim Day, about the return today of Zach Kozart. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
Cincinnati Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
Hey guys, meteorologist Brandon Orr here from Local 12. It was perfect out yesterday. We had low humidity, a decent amount of sunshine. Temperatures were perfect in the 70s. Temperatures haven't changed all that much today. We're also going to only be climbing throughout the 70s ever so slowly. The only difference is we have all these clouds around. We also have a few light showers approaching from the west. They're very light. They're not going to be heavy in nature, and we really don't expect any thunderstorms today since we don't have any of that deep summertime humidity with us. So we'll keep an eye out on radar. Enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
All right, the Reds get Zach Cozart back today off the disabled list with that quad injury. And even though he's missed time on the DL and just sitting out periodically, check out our IGS Bringing the Energy. You'll see that his ranks amongst National League shortstops, he's still on top. 317 average first, 568 slugging percentage first, 971 OPS first, and third in home runs with 12. Now, in talking to Zach, he says he hasn't felt this good with the quad in quite a while. However, he needs extended rest to be able to fully rehab it. It's still going to be something he's going to have to manage on the field. Not sure if you're going to see him sprinting out there, but he's good enough to play, so we'll see how it shakes out. Series on the line, Reds and Cardinals. Who wants it? Bailey versus Wainwright. The Cowboy alongside Tom Brenneman next.
And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
All right, here we go. About 30 seconds before the scheduled game time. It's Matt Carpenter against Homer Bailey, and welcome to Great American Ballpark. Strike one, we're underway in the rubber game of this three-game series. Been a couple of really good games in this series. Reds in a one-run victory, 3-2 on Friday night. Wojciechowski over Leak with Iglesias a save. Cardinals 4-1 winners last night. Lynn over Castilla. Rosenthal a save. And a fly ball into right field will be run down by Winker, and that takes care of Carpenter. And we look at Mike Matheny, the Reynoldsburg, Ohio native, just outside of Columbus. His starting lineup presented by Menards. Pham coming up. DeYoung hit a home run here last night. Martinez in left, Molina catching Wong at second. Grichuk, Mack in right field, Garcia third, and Adam Wainwright on the mound. Homer Bailey making his 9th start since coming off the disabled list. 3-5 record, very high ERA, and opponents are batting .343 against Homer Bailey.
Yeah, I think with the ups and downs that Homer had when he first came back off the disabled list skew the numbers a little bit. But I think when you look at Homer's velocity that we're seeing early in this ball game, 95 miles an hour, I would think that would tell you early that he's feeling all right.
Pham, a .316 batter, 14 home runs, drove in his 47th run of the year last night, was on base twice, had a single, an infield single, and that 2-run seventh. And that knocked in a run.
He seems to be the one guy in this lineup that's hitting the ball with some semblance of regularity right now.
There's ball 4, a 1-out walk given up to Pham, who can run a little bit now. He has 15 stolen bases. He's been thrown out 5 times. We look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Tucker Barnhart back in there. And the big story, of course, as Jim Day told you a moment ago, it's Cozart returning at shortstop. After spending a little less than 2 weeks on the disabled list, still really bothered, troubled as he has been most of this year by that right quad. Ball 1 high on DeYoung. Paul DeYoung, the National League's Rookie of the Month in the month of July. Last night clubbed his 15th home run. He hit 8 of them in July, which for that calendar month was an all-time Cardinals rookie record. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And you and I talked about this game 1 and game 2, but it still bears repeating. Paul DeYoung, a rookie, hitting 3rd for the Cardinals. It's a little different kind of offensive lineup.
And we talked so much about that just extraordinary run of power in the middle of their lineup from so many different sources through so many years, longer than a decade, nearly 2 decades, going back to the mid-90s, and Mark McGwire coming in the late 90s, and you know, Albert Pujols was the premier slugger in all the National League for almost 10 years. And even guys around him. They bring in Beltran, and they had Matt Holliday, and they bring in, you know, Lance Berkman near the end of his career. They had Larry Walker in that mix. I mean, so many devastating hitters.
And it's not to say that DeYoung can't do it. It's just that he's a rookie, and you just don't see a whole lot of rookies. I don't remember hardly any that hit in the middle of the order for the Cardinals.
Fly ball down the right field line. It's fouled out of play. Well, the last young player who got a chance to bat in the middle of the order was Pujols. I mean, he's the last one. But, you know, look, DeYoung's got a chance to be a really good player. He's not going to be Albert Pujols.
There are not many Alberts out there.
No. Last night was the first time the Cardinals had won a game here at Great American Ballpark this year. Swing and a miss. He just blew him away with a 94-mile-per-hour fastball. 2 down in the inning.
Fastball up right over the top of the hands. 4-seam heater. That's a great pitch with 2 strikes. You come in, you're on the corner of the plate, but yet you're elevated above the hands. It looks so good to a batter, but by the time you get your swing there, the ball's already in the mitt.
So now with 2 away, here's Jose Martinez, a left fielder. 7 home runs, 21 batted in. Talking about the Reds having won 5 straight games in this ballpark over the Cardinals. That's the longest Reds winning streak here at Great American Ballpark against St. Louis, going all the way back to the 2006 season. So it's been a long time, and now they have the runner call. Boy, this Cardinal team base running has been absolutely brutal. So that's a good way to end it. Billy to start it when we come back. the first inning in a scoreless game. Let's take a look at Brian Price's starting lineup presented by Menards. Billy Hamilton to lead it off. Cozart back in there at short, followed by Joey Votto, Adam Duvall, Scooter Gennett, and Eugenio Suarez in middle third. Winker dropped to the 7th spot with the return of Cozart. Barnhart the catcher, Bailey on the mound. Adam Wainwright a very, very high ERA, but an 11-5 record.
I think when you look at Wainwright, you look at those 11 wins and you think to yourself, well, the Cardinals must show up when he takes them out. 4.89 with 11 wins. This is a team that doesn't score a whole lot of runs either.
Oh, no, they don't. In fact, the Cardinals in their last 9 games have scored a total of 19 runs, and 5 of them came in 1 game. But 4 was enough to win here last night. 2 balls and a strike on Billy at 252, 3 home runs, 30 batted in. Hamilton hitless. He really got worked over here last night by Lynn, who pitched an outstanding game. Of course, Lance Lynn is a very, very good pitcher. There are days Lance Lynn is a great pitcher. Guy's closing in on 30 games over 500 over the course of his major league career.
Well, you can rest assured that Billy Hamilton is going to see a steady diet of breaking balls. Cutters in on his hands, and that slow curveball as in the last pitch from Adam Wainwright.
Wainwright very tall, 6'7", 240-pounder, and a liner into center field out of the reach of Colton Wong. So Billy Hamilton aboard. That's a good start.
The one fastball he throws, he hits a liner into right center.
Well, here comes Cozart. He's thrilled to be back, but knows he's going to have to find a way to stay healthy.
I need some, long-term rests to really heal up, but, in baseball you don't have that. So I'm going to go out there and manage it, and, I just want to be out there to play. So not going to overextend myself on certain things to protect the quad, but that's just what I have to do.
And really that's what he's been doing ever since it initially bothered him, starting very early in this season. But twice now he's reached a point where you just need at least the 10-12 days off to heal it as best you can. The entire winter will take care of that, you figure, but of course that's not at least for a couple of months. Well, what a year he has had. The .317 batter went to his first All-Star game, started for the National League All-Star team in Miami. He has played so well, not only in the field, but by far having his best year at the plate.
I think there's a lot of players in the game where you say, I don't want 85%. I need 100. For Zach Cozart, I'll take 85.
One ball and 1 strike on Cozart. Hamilton 44 stolen bases. He's been thrown out 8 times, and he bangs one into left. His first at bat off the disabled list, a base hit. So welcome back, Zach Cozart. Here comes Joey Votto now with a 10-game hitting streak. Part of our Elkin Out storyline. It's the 13th time that Joey has had hitting streaks of 10 games or more, totaling 151 games, so nearly a full season. These are his numbers during those hitting streaks. 44 home runs, 55 doubles, a .458 batting average, and 114 runs batted in.
Those are crazy numbers. Crazy numbers.
I mentioned during this current 10-game hitting streak, he has an on-base percentage of over .610.
So you can walk him, or you can give up a home run or a double.
because he's going to hit it somewhere. Oh, boy. And right now, he's in one of those runs.
Joey accounted for the lone Reds run of the night here last night when he clubbed a solo home run in the first inning. 2 balls and a strike. Wainwright will turn 36 at the end of this month. Man, it is so hard to believe how time flies. When he initially came up to the Cardinals, many of you will remember they were making that, that postseason run all the way back in 2006, and they needed a closer. And he wound up being the guy. Was on the mound to win the division series when they knocked off San Diego. Was on the mound when they closed out the Mets in a league championship series, and was on the mound in a 4-game sweep of the Detroit Tigers in the World Series. 1 year later, no more bullpen. A 14-game winner as a starter. One breaking ball, and Votto comes up empty.
Any pitch at any time. It's always been a story for Adam Wainwright. Even though he doesn't have the same velocity on the curveball, it's still got quite a bit of break to it.
Career 3.17 ERA. That's third among all active pitchers to only Clayton Kershaw and Felix Hernandez. 3-2, came back with a heater and fouled away.
It's a 20-mile-an-hour difference between the last 2 pitches. 73 the hook inside, 93 the fastball in the same spot.
The Reds have the first 2 on here in the bottom of the first inning. Singles by Hamilton and Cozart, and the hottest hitter arguably in the league right now with a count of 3-2 and none out. High fly ball into right field. Drifting is Grichuk. He leaps and can't get it goodbye.
Last time Wainwright pitched, Jeanette hit 4 home runs.
You never know.
No, you don't. Not with that guy.
Wainwright can't believe it. He thought that was a routine fly ball to right, and maybe at Busch Stadium it would have been. Career home run number 250 for Joey Votto, who ranks 3rd in the league in home runs. Boy, what a year he's having. And the hitting streak, oh, by the way, now at 11. Guy can rink.
I still maintain he can do whatever he wants to do with the bat. He can hit it out. He could probably bunt it. Or just foul it off till you get tired of throwing strikes and walk.
And by the way, for Votto, that is a home run of note because it's his 135th here at Great American Ballpark. That ties Jay Bruce for the most ever here at Great American Ballpark. So the next one, and Joey is demand, the all-time leader. 1-2 on Adam Duvall. Some might be saying, well, what about Adam Dunn? Well, Adam Dunn came up and had played a lot of his career already at Riverfront. Because Dunn hit a lot of home runs.
Yes, he did.
You could not draw up a better start to this one for the Reds. 3 batters, 3 runs. Where does Votto rank all time in Reds history with 250 now? 1 behind the great Ted Kluszewski. Talked about Dunn. And we've talked about this before. If Votto plays out the life of his contract, and there's every reason to believe that he will, especially he seems to be getting better and better. He has more than a legitimate chance to beat out Johnny Bench as the Reds all-time home run leader. Well, you're 149. Did I read that right? Is he at 389? Is that where Bench is?
139 away.
139 now. 389, not 399. So, I mean, right? 30 a year for the next 5 years, and you're there, which he can do.
A lot of homers to get to, though.
It is. And of course, he's hitting home runs at a clip right now with which he's never hit before, even in his most valuable player award season. Votto has never hit 40 home runs in a single season. 37 was the year in 2010 when he won the MVP. And did it hit him, or was it ball 4? Ball 4. So 4 straight Reds have reached to start this game against Wainwright. Cardinals on defense, presented by Ford. They go with Martinez, Pham, and Grichuk left, center, and right. Garcia, DeYoung, Wong, Carpenter along the infield, and Molina after sitting out Friday night, starting his 2nd straight game. Boy, Jeanette jumps all over that ball. Pulls it foul.
That's the problem with looking dead red. That fastball that's up around your hands and higher, it looks awfully good, especially for a guy like Jeanette, because he can tomahawk that ball out of here.
Long way to go for right fielder and second baseman. That's going to fall in a hit. And sliding in safely is Duvall.
Randall Grichuk broke back on the swing from Jeanette. Ball came off the bat almost with the same type of height that we saw from the home run of Votto. He broke back, couldn't get back to the baseball. The problem you have right now, Tom, if you're Mike Matheny, you got a pitcher coming off the disabled list with a bad back. He hasn't gotten an out yet. How many pitches do you let him throw in the 1st inning? 50? He's at 30 already. We're right at it.
Wainwright, you know, pronounced himself fit and ready to go. I mean, he was adamant about it. He had a bullpen session and came out and said, I'm ready to go. I want to pitch as early as this weekend rather than waiting, you know, that extra day, one more day that we talked a lot about, that we've heard that term from Dusty Baker and Brian Price through the years. And he is off to as bad a start as one could possibly imagine, outside of being down 5-0 after 5 batters. He's down 3-0, but still nobody out.
Well, he needs a double play, and the Reds have got to stay away from that.
Here's Suarez, 17 home runs, 53 knocked in. Suarez, a .257 batter. 0 for 3 last night. Reds only had 5 hits in the game. The Cardinals, 4-1 winners, only had 4 hits in the game last night. First time we've seen Brian Addison behind the plate. Easy umpire. Jim Reynolds, the crew chief, at first. Brian Knight at second, and Lance Barrett works down at third. keeps missing down and away in this at bat to Suarez.
Well, he's trying to get Suarez to chase a pitch just off the outside corner and hit the ball off the end of the bat, get yourself a ground ball. But as we've seen with Suarez, even when he struggled, he showed great patience.
Three and one the count. Oh, he had a pitch to hit there. That was more in the middle of the plate.
A little bit of a cutter. But I think when you have a 3-1 count, that's the kind of swing you want to have as a hitter. To go after it. He just missed it.
3 balls and 2 strikes on Suarez. Nobody out. Duvall the runner at second and Jeanette on at first. It's now 34 pitches and not a single out recorded for Wainwright here in the opening frame. And they are loaded. Well, I would imagine the Cardinals have to get the bullpen started. Yep, they're already in the horn. As the Reds have scored 3. It went single, single, homer. If you're just joining us, Votto the home run. Since then, walk, single, walk.
I don't care who you are. 40 pitches is a lot in 1 inning, no matter what, especially if you're a starter coming off the disabled list. He's at 35 now with nobody out.
So now Jesse Winker has been playing every day with the disablement of Scott Schebler. Of course, on Tuesday when they brought him up, prior to the Pittsburgh series, was leading the International League in batting average and on base percentage was Winker. And a very good on base percentage in a short amount of time with a big league club. Hit 2 home runs in that Pittsburgh series. Could have been 3 were it not for Marte taking 1 away. Breaking ball, a strike.
Put Jesse Winker in that number 7 spot. Really lengthen out your lineup a bit here.
You're not lying.
Length and strength.
Buried a pitch in on him there and fouled out a play. Reds trying to blow this one open right from the very get-go. They have a chance right now if he finds a gap. One-two pitch on Winker. Pulled. There's one. Throw to the plates. Tag play. And the runner's out. That's a huge turn of events. Can't make a better throw than Carpenter did on the run.
Well, what allowed Carpenter to make that play? The ball's hit down the line. He stepped on the bag with his throwing foot. As he stepped there, he just continued on with his throwing motion.
Now the Cardinals are going to intentionally walk Tucker Barnhart and load him up for Homer Bailey. 3rd walk of this inning by Wainwright. Well, look where that ball, that throw, though, from Carpenter was. I mean, if it is 3 inches either side of where he threw that ball, there is no chance they get the runner. He couldn't have laid it down on the ground to Molina better than he did. We'll show you where he caught it here after a pitch. Look at this, where he catches this ball. Okay? This ball is right to the 3rd base side of the plate there.
Catch and tag.
That's a nice play.
And it was not really one of those plays where you get a chance to set your feet and throw. He's stepping on the bag with his front foot and throwing all in one motion.
Of course, he's played everywhere as Carpenter. Seen him play second through the years, a long time at third. And has always been open to wherever it is the Cardinals want to move him and play him. See the numbers on Bailey: 9 at-bats, 2 hits. Still looking for his first RBI, has him loaded with 2 outs. Well, Wainwright is all over the place. 44 pitches now in his first inning. You know, it's one of the things when we were asked about the Cubs from, people to share your thoughts before a season started. We talked about this whenever we've played the Cubs. The thing you always marvel at and wonder about, first and foremost, is when teams 2 or 3 years in a row play deep in the playoffs and their starters are going 210, 220, 230 during the regular year. Then you tack on a bunch of innings in the postseason. What are they like coming back the next year? When Wainwright takes the ball in the second inning, you're not going to believe what he's been able to do through the years. Votto, the 3-run home run, and the Reds are off and rolling in Cincinnati.
The Unlimited Baseball Break brought to you by T-Mobile. The Dodgers are unreal. They have won 43 of their last 50 games. It's the best 50-game run since the 1912 New York Giants did the same. Giancarlo Stanton clubbed his MLB-leading 36th home run, 446 feet. He's one off matching his career high of 37, and the Rockies scored 8 early runs, and the win over the Phillies now puts the Rockies atop the National League wild card standings.
Well, make no mistake about it. Whatever 2 teams are in the wild card and they play that 1-game playoff at the end of the year, barring a complete collapse, they know who they're playing in round 1. And that's in August. We know that.
I want them to play it out in Colorado. Hammer City.
I still like that Arizona team, though, better than Colorado. I mean, obviously they're both having an excellent year, and there's a lot to like on both teams. And I say like, what I mean is to be the top wild card team to get that game at home.
No, I mean, I just want them to play the game in Colorado.
You do.
I don't care if the Rockies play or not. I just want them to play it out there. Talk about a challenge now.
You know, you made the point, though, last night, which I think is just so incredible about what the Dodgers are doing right now, is the fact that they're playing in a division where the top 2 wild card teams, at least as of today, August 6, 2017, reside in their division. You got 2 teams that are 16 games over 500. Well, this ball is killed. And that's into left center field. Martinez will cruise in with a double to start the Cardinals' 2nd inning. Tell you, when that guy runs into one now, that ball jumps off his back.
Big long swing. This ball out over the plate. Catches it right on the barrel. See Martinez come up to the plate. He's swinging that big bat around like it's a toothpick over the top of his head. You could hear the Cardinals as they came back into their dugout. A lot of chirping. All right, let's go. The 3 runs on the board. Let's get it back. This is a different type of team as long as Wainwright is on the mound. And to me, that says something about your starting pitcher. May not have his best stuff, but he still has presence.
Now Yadier Molina with a count of 1-0, and there's a soft liner in the right that'll fall in a hit. So here come the Cardinals all of a sudden after all that action in the Reds' opening inning. They left the bases loaded. They scored 3 times. You feel good about yourself, but you also feel like, well, we probably could have had 1 or 2 more. And now all of a sudden, the 3rd batter's coming up the next half inning representing the tying run in the game.
When the game started, you didn't see that kind of life in the Cardinal dugout. Now that they're down 3-0, their big man in Wainwright has given up 3. You know he's not going to be around a whole long time after 40-something pitches in the 1st inning. You see some clapping on the base paths. They're trying to get some life back in their dugout.
And there's a bouncing ball that'll be an extra base hit and an RBI for Colton Wong. Wong into 2nd. On to 3rd goes Molina. Martinez scores. It's a 3-1 ball game.
If you're Homer Bailey here, you've got to figure out some way to put a little bit of quiet in that 3rd base dugout. Colton Wong hit right on top of that ball. Heavy topspin. That's what caused that big jump over the head of Otto.
And this ball smoked into right center. This is going to tie the game. Boy, Bailey is getting lit up here in the 2nd inning. Double, single, single, double, 3-3 game.
That breaking ball did not have a whole lot on it. It was just spinning. It was up and out over the plate. And normally for Randall Grichuk, that he's trying to pull the ball. He went right with that and shot it right into the gap.
And a rocket into left center field off the bat of Garcia will give the Cardinals a lead. That is their 3rd double in this inning and their 5th consecutive hit. Fourth double, I beg your pardon. 5th consecutive hit. almost wonder if Billy may have tweaked something out there going after that ball. He looks like he's trying to catch his breath.
Looks like his right spike as he was sliding to get that ball stuck in the turf. Kind of bent that right foot backwards.
Homer Bailey has given up 5 straight hits in this inning on a total of 9 pitches. Well, Billy going to hang in there. Here's Wainwright.
He can swing it too now.
Yes, he can. He has 2 home runs and 10 runs batted in. 9 hits overall. And puts down a perfect bunt to get the runner to third. That's the first out in the inning. Four runs will not win this game.
Well, this is also
a long way to go.
This is also why Adam Wainwright has 11 wins on the board with a 4.89 ERA. You and I were talking about this when we began the ballgame. It's just a different Cardinal club when he pitches.
Infield in for Carpenter. He flied out to right, leading off the game. Runner at third, 1 out. Strike 1.
Wainwright doesn't have the #1 stuff anymore, but I think that club in that third base dugout expects to win every time he takes the mound. That's a #1.
Well, he's been their guy, the leader on that pitching staff, and one of the leaders on this entire team. Carries himself with just tremendous class at all times. Great with the fans, great in the community. You can understand why guys would want to get behind him and see good things happen to him. Makes sense, right? You know, other guys can be a complete jerk, #1 starters, but you don't see a lot of complete jerks who win 11 games with a 4.89 ERA. Does that make sense? Strike 3 call.
Good pitch right here by Homer Bailey. Fastball right on the inside corner. That just locked up Matt Carpenter. Tommy Pham is going to look early to hit. Wow.
Swing and a miss by Pham to get ahead 0-2. Reds have action in their bullpen after Bailey's given up 4 runs and 5 hits after being staked to a 3-0 first inning lead, just called up earlier today. Luis Alberto Bonilla. That's all for Pham. And Tucker to throw down there to put a period on that sentence. But the Cardinals rally in a big way. 4 doubles, 5 hits, 4 runs, and lead 4-3. MLB.com at bat today. Randall Grichuk, a 2-run double and a 4-run St. Louis second inning. So now the Reds bat in the second inning. This game is closing in on 50 minutes young. And we're just in the bottom of the second inning. Teams are scoring and hitting the plenty. Billy led off the first inning with a single into right center field.
Wainwright is trying to get outs as fast as possible. Forget about striking guys out. Just try to get them out quick.
Fly ball, shallow center field, and that's easy out there for Pham. Billy Hamilton retired to open the second inning.
You run 40+ pitches up there in the first inning, and you want first pitch swings, first pitch contact, try to get them out as fast as you can.
Well, we started to mention earlier about the challenge of a team that plays in the playoffs. You know, in the Cubs case the last couple of years, and they went to the LCS 2 years ago, 7 games in an LCS, or 6 in an LCS, 7 in a World Series last year. And the challenge of those starters that are logging a ton of innings, in the Cubs case, Lester and Arrieta, you know, that old crowd, and Lackey, that have not been the same guys so far this year.
Well, more innings, shorter recovery time.
Exactly. And then you look at a guy like Wainwright. You started 2009, 233, 2010, 230, missed a year, came back, 200, 241, 227. That's just the regular season. And they went to the playoffs every year. And he'd keep coming back, having great years. Sooner or later, for some guys it will catch up. It took longer for that to happen to Wainwright.
There are some innings during the season, and there are more than not, that are not that stressful pitch for pitch. Postseason, that's a whole different category. Every pitch is stressful.
2 up, 2 down for Wainwright here in the second inning.
And I don't mean mentally stressful. I'm talking about stress on your arm. You're already tired. You're trying to dial it up into that high-end category. Every pitch counts. And the further you go into the postseason, the more stress it is on the arm and the shorter the recovery time, because spring training is coming whether you play in the World Series or not.
Votto now with 29 home runs. He's hit 29 in each of the last 3 years. Also hit 29 in 2011. Now, we brought up earlier that Votto has never had a 40 home run season. He has only once had a 30 home run season. That's when he won the MVP in 2010.
Now you're seeing Wainwright really take something off of that curveball.
Joey, the 3-run home run in the first inning.
How many guys do you know have enough gumption to throw a 62-mile-an-hour hook to a guy like Votto? And all Wainwright is trying to do is create as much difference between his fastball and breaking ball as he can, to make his, you throw a slower breaking ball to make your fastball look that much harder.
Swung on and fouled out of play. So Wainwright throws 45 pitches in the opening inning. And he's working on what is 15th here in the second inning. And there's that variation in speed range that Cowboy pointed out earlier. It's amazing, isn't it? Well, the inning will be extended a little bit more as Votto gets on base yet again.
Well, as I mentioned to you earlier, Tom, there are times when Votto comes to the plate. I think I'll go deep here. You know, the guy's got a lot of pitches. I think I'll work him for a walk. He's done that today.
Here's Adam Duvall. He walked his first time up after being behind in the count to Wainwright at a ball and 2 strikes.
I don't think the Reds would have benefited by allowing Wainwright to get 3 quick outs and have that offense get right back to the plate. I think that would have been a momentum shifter into the Cardinals' direction, even more so than where we sit right now.
One ball, 1 strike on Duvall, and it runs up and in, 2 balls and a strike.
The problem that you have for Wainwright, if you're Adam Wainwright here against Duvall, you'd like to cut the ball down and away and get him to hit the ball off the end of the bat, but if you miss, the Reds retake the lead. This guy's got silly power.
Duvall has 24 home runs. Votto's taken over the team lead in runs batted in now with 78. Adam has 75. Good breaking ball there.
Even in the days where Wainwright was throwing the ball 96 miles an hour with that breaking ball in the mid-80s that he termed Uncle Charlie, still had great body control on the mound. Same type of mechanics that he has right now. Great control with his body, which allows him to have great control on the corners of the plate. Wainwright's got to be thinking here, put the ball in play. I'm making a pitch on the outer edge. I want you to hit it out there where my fielders are. The more Duvall fouls off, the further Wainwright gets towards the end of the day.
8th pitch in this at bat on Adam Duvall. It's also turned into now a 20+ pitch inning for Wainwright. And there'll be a 9th pitch in this at bat.
Well, we saw earlier in the count Wainwright running those fastballs in on Duvall. What he was trying to do there is speed Duvall's eyes up, make him jump at the ball so then he could drop that slow curve. Duvall not biting on it. He stayed patient. He stayed back, trying to let the ball get as deep as possible into his swing.
a soft ground ball to the shortstop, DeYoung, and that's all the scoreless second inning for the Reds. We go to the third. The Cardinals lead by a run.
Days, and we're out here in the kids zone, and she heads up the online initiative Raising a Reds Fan. Check it out on Facebook and Pinterest. We are welcoming in Erin Fisher, and here on Sundays they also have a thing called in the third inning called Third and Learn. What is Third and Learn?
We love the Third and Learn. It's an opportunity for us to come together on the wiffle ball field with families and raise their baseball IQ. Or we have partners that we have today, like Newport Aquarium. They brought out their alligator today, Willard the alligator, yes.
Well, on Sundays, not only is there a ticket offer, but all kinds of activities for kids, correct?
There's all kinds of activities for kids. There's 13 Sunday home games. We have a ticket offer. We have face painters. We have entertainment. We have the live mascot races. It's so fun for families.
Real quick, Raising a Reds Fan on Facebook and Pinterest. Tell us what it is.
Yes, thank you. It's all the love of the Cincinnati Reds and bringing it to kids' childhood.
That is very cool. So, Tom and Cowboy, go on Facebook and Pinterest and search for Raising a Reds Fan, and Erin knows all about that because she's raising one as well who's on this wiffle ball field. And we'll talk to Erin coming up in a bit.
Well, I tell you what, Jim Day, I had the pleasure of knowing Erin going all the way back to when she first started working in Major League Baseball with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think she was one of about the first 25, 30 people hired there. We were two of the first 25 or 30, and she is the best. If she's getting behind something, I can promise you it's good stuff. So check it out, those of you at home. You know, if you wonder about the Reds and their tie to this community, and especially when it comes to families in our community, Erin's going to talk about that in the seventh inning. It's just incredible the things that the Reds do to try and bring families together around the game of baseball. And Sundays are generally the really big family days around here, as Erin just mentioned. We are in the top of the third inning. And a leadoff single by Carpenter, who's already batted 3 times in the game, and now Bailey walks a batter. I tell you what, this is painful. The pitching in this game so far today. You've got 2 walks 6 hits, 4 runs by one pitcher. You've got 4 walks, 4 hits, 3 runs by the other. And we're 2 batters into the 3rd.
Not quite what I expected coming into today with 2 veterans on the mound.
So the single by DeYoung, the walk to Martinez, and here's Molina, who singled and scored in the 4-run 2nd inning. Bailey, meanwhile, set to throw just his 40th pitch of the game. That's chump change compared to the number thrown by Wainwright. But it's starting to swing the pendulum in the other direction. Wainwright had the awful 1st inning. Bailey had a rocky 2nd inning.
Yeah, Bailey's just having a tough time with his breaking ball, both the slider and the split, as far as location goes.
Straight away center field, hit a long way. Hamilton appears to have room. He does at the track. And both runners will advance, tagging up. So DeYoung to 3rd, Martinez to 2nd, and 1 out.
When Martinez got to 2nd awfully quick. You look up and Paul DeYoung was still running towards 3rd, and Martinez was sliding into 2nd. I was wondering if he left early.
So the Reds don't appear to be too sure on how to play this defensively. That infield is not what you would call in.
Well, they're in on the corners in order to cut down the runner at the plate on a ground ball that's right at Suarez or right at Votto. But Votto's playing well off the line at 1st. So if he does get a ball that's hit and carrying towards 2nd, he's going to try to cut down the runner there.
Well, remember, it was Wong who bounced a double straight up the first base line his 1st time up. That drove in the first of the 4 Cardinal runs scored in that 2nd inning off Bailey.
Yeah, when you move your first baseman well off the line, that tells me, all right, you've got to get a ball down and away from this left-handed hitter.
Came back with a fastball that time, and it's 0-2 on Wong.
Problem you have here, Tom, is if you play the infield all the way in with 1 out, you're giving so much more room out there, a little bloop single, and then you extend the inning even further. You could just turn this into a disaster.
0-2 the count on Wong. Called foul.
Bounce one right on top of the plate.
And he got him on a, did he get a piece of it? He did.
He bounced it almost on top of the plate. Just did get the end of the bat on the baseball. Colton Wong wants to swing here. He's not going to take anything close. Go down there again.
Straight up in the air. This will not bring the run in. Jeanette makes a catch, and that's a 2nd out of the inning. It's a big out for Homer Bailey.
Well, there's certain guys that will change their approach when they have runners in scoring position. They want to swing no matter what when the RBIs are on the board, and then if nobody's on base, they'll take some pitches that they would not take with runners in scoring position. As a pitcher, you have to know that.
Two away in the inning, one more big one to go, and here's Grichuk, who hit a rope into right center field up against the wall to drive into a double, and then scored with the next batter, Garcia, double.
Grichuk,
all in the 4-run inning.
Grichuk, another one of those hitters. He wants to swing, especially middle in.
Straight up in the air, and it looks like Bailey has a chance to get out of this thing. That's a nice job by Homer Bailey after a single and a walk to start the inning. Still a 1-run lead for St. Louis.
Reinstated from the DL. Philip Ervin was optioned to AAA. Luis Alberto Bonilla recalled from AAA. He's in the bullpen, and Robert Stevenson, who was set to start here, was placed on the 10-day disabled list. That shoulder injury that he came up with in Pittsburgh. And Brian Price talked about the situation.
I don't think it'll be long. We're hoping that over the course of the 10-day stint on the disabled list, he'll be fine to jump back in and start pitching again. Just had some soreness, bruising from the dive he made on the bunt in Pittsburgh. Came down on his shoulder, and there was some residual soreness from that. We did an MRI, kind of more being cautious and don't want to rush him to have to be able to pitch again in 5 days. So I would anticipate, I'm optimistic that over the course of the 10-day stint, he should be fine to pitch.
And yesterday we told you that before yesterday's game, Brian Price said that Scott Feldman in the next 5 days would likely make a start. Well, he pulled that back today, saying they want to further test that knee as far as fielding his position and running the bases. So I guess you got to keep up by hour with the Reds pitching situation at this moment.
Well, really, that has been the entire story the entire year, and whether that's because of injuries or just simple ineffectiveness from guys who, Cowboy, have been up and down from AAA or been given an opportunity in the rotation for a number of starts and sent back down to the minor leagues, brought back up or not brought back up at all in some cases.
I think you're just trying to do whatever you can to build some confidence in some of these young pitchers. I think that's part of the reason that Robert Stevenson was taken out of the ball game with 81 pitches the other night. He had a good line, a good confidence building ball game. And the last thing that you want with a young pitcher is to have any question mark in his mind when he takes the mound for his next start. Because sooner or later, the Stevensons, the Reeds, the Romanos, the Castillos, they're your future.
Brian Price had made the comment, and we've talked about this going all the way back to really the middle of June, when Amir Garrett fell on hard times, when Cody Reed had already been, really a distant memory as far as his short time with the big league club this year. He's never been brought back since being sent to Louisville. Rookie Davis began the year in the rotation, struggled, was hurt, brought back, struggled, sent back, not heard from again at the big league level anyway. But Brian Price had said, look, by the end of 2017, we need to know what the future looks like for this rotation looking ahead to 2018. As here's a two-hopper down to first, and Wainwright retires Jeanette to begin the third inning. I think it is safe to say right now, granted, we have almost 2 full months left in this season, but there is no way in the world the Reds are any closer today of answering questions about a number of these ballyhooed pitching prospects than they were before this season ever began.
Yeah, I would almost make the statement to my young pitchers, I don't want to see how hard you can throw. I don't want to see how great your breaking ball is. I don't care how many guys you strike out. What I want to see is how many guys you can get out in a row. How many guys can you get out, whether it's by ground ball or pop up or on the first pitch?
And clearly the Reds have not rewarded those that were sent down to the minor leagues that did not throw strikes. Stevenson's overall numbers were not particularly good after being sent down to the minor leagues in terms of the number of hits he gave up per inning, as far as runs allowed per 9 innings, his ERA, but he did not walk batters, thus he got the chance to come back. That has not been the story necessarily, although the numbers in those other categories for a guy like Reed don't look all that bad. The walk numbers are not very good. And Garrett has just had a really tough time down there.
I think this has been.
I mean, where are those guys, Cowboy? What's got to happen with that group? Those 3 guys, and maybe I should take rookie Davis out of it because he wasn't as far along as some of the others. But where do you have to be unless you're just going to dismiss entirely that Reed and Garrett are a part of your future? Where do you have to be with them at the end of 2017?
I think for Amir Garrett, after having a great ball game and then getting sent down, there comes a point in time mentally where you think to yourself, well, what do I have to do to pitch in the big leagues? They're going to send me down no matter what.
2 down in the inning.
And I think that plays tricks with a young pitcher's head. I mean, the object for any young pitcher is to get to the big leagues and stay. And if you pitch good and you still get sent down, then it becomes a little bit of deflating as far as your aggressiveness and pitching in the big leagues. You almost think, well, it doesn't really matter. That's a problem. You can't have that type of mentality coming to the big leagues. I think as far as Cody Reed is concerned, there's no doubt that he has some of the best stuff in the organization as far as fastball slider combination. But what I think the Reds and Brian Price, Mac Jenkins, and really the entire organization, what they're looking for is not only command around the plate, but command of yourself on the mound when things don't quite go your way. You've got to figure out a way to be able to handle the ups and downs. And you mentioned it yesterday. Anybody is good when your team is playing off the hook, and every time you go out to start, you feel great. Every slider goes where you want it to go. I want the guys that can be able to compete and keep me in the ball game, as I saw with Castillo yesterday, when you got nothing. When the ball's everywhere, you have a fight on every pitch. That's the guy I want on the mound. I want you to show me that you can battle and fight, because this game is tough at this level. Everybody's good. But ultimately, for the Reds and the longevity of this organization and helping them get back to the winning ways, they've got to figure out a way to develop starters, period. That's it.
Winker draws a 2-out walk. That is the 5th walk issued in this game by Adam Wainwright. 3 of those came in the first inning when he gave up the 3 runs, and 1 of them was intentional.
I think that's an important at bat in the grand scheme of things in this ball game, because right now Adam Wainwright has yet to put together a 1-2-3 inning. And if you're Mike Matheny, that's really what you're looking for. You get 1, 2, 3. All right, I feel better sending him back out there for the next one. The Reds just continue to make the veteran pitcher work.
Oh, bad luck there. Barnhart hit it right on the screws, but right into Carpenter, holding the runner on at first. 88 pitches in the game for Wainwright, but unbelievable. Like his season has gone this year, he has a lead.
Before the game, a little impromptu session. Bronson Arroyo singing for the fans. He will just at times just show up at a bar with his guitar and his friends and just say, hey, can we play a set? He'll just show up and play some songs just like he did today, singing for the fans. When you're on the 60-day DL, you do have extra time on your hands, but Bronson has always been fan friendly.
Well, I saw him right as he was making his way off the elevator to go out there to the fan zone, and he looked at me with that sheepish grin and smile and said, well, I guess it's come to this. He said he did used to do it all the time when he was a regular part of the starting rotation, so it's not like he's just doing something now because he has that time, but he does have that time. It's been nice to have him around here with the ball club.
I agree.
Well, we talked about Wainwright not having a 1-2-3 inning, nor is Homer Bailey. Now, he's had an inning where he faced the minimum. That was the first inning because he picked a batter off. Tommy Pham to end that inning.
You can just see the facial expressions from Homer when he throws a slider or a split finger. It's like, it's just not coming out the way he wants it to come out.
That is a 4-pitch walk to the number 8 hitter to begin the inning. Well, we invite you to purchase Bark in the Park ticket packages, and you can bring your furry friend to the game. Have the big on-field ceremony, the parade, pregame activities in the Kroger fan zone, and so much more. Reds.com/Dog Day. That's coming up at the end of the month. That'll be on August the 29th. Those are always a big hit. And tickets generally sell quickly for that. That'll be the New York Mets in town on August the 29th. And that is a Tuesday night.
The Cardinals had Luke Voit in the on-deck circle. As soon as the walk happened, Adam Wainwright steps up and does that.
Because that's what he can do. He can hit and he can put down a bunt. Cardinals have left-hander Brett Cecil loosening in their bullpen. Bailey has one on and one out.
Don't think that Matt Carpenter doesn't remember the fastball on the inside corner for strike 3 in his previous at bat. The way the Reds are pitching Carpenter, it shows you how reputation continues to precede you. This guy, as we know, a hammer of a hitter for the longest time.
Yep. I mean, he was among the better all-around players in the entire National League. He wasn't just some offensive guy. He was a good leadoff hitter, that kind of thing. I mean, he had a couple of years here, especially in 2013 and really in 2015. He's hitting anywhere from 28 home runs, 44 doubles, had 55 doubles in another year. That earned him that huge contract. But a bit of a step back last year, down in every major power category. I don't know if you ever viewed him necessarily as a home run hitter, but when you hit 28 home runs in a year, as he did in 15, people start to say, okay, well, at least maybe he's going to be a...
He can hurt you.
Yeah. Well, he drops down to 21 last year, although the on-base percentage did climb. Batting average about the same. This year, way down.
But he did not hit a home run in July. I mean, that's an entire calendar month where you didn't drive the ball, but we're pitching to him as though he hit 20.
I mean, look, I made the comment last night, and it's no disparaging comment whatsoever to Matt Carpenter. He has been a good player and at times a great player during his major league career.
I think a lot of it.
But in this series, the Reds have either walked or hit him 6 plate appearances.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Reds pitchers believe they can get the guy out at the plate in Tommy Pham. It's not happening on that pitch.
That'll be a base hit that will bring in the run. Sends Carpenter on to third, and that makes it a 5-3 St. Louis lead.
You pitch a guy tough because you think you can get the guy out that's on deck.
Well, this inning started by walking the number 8 hitter on 4 pitches.
That's a different story.
Yep. Came around to score. Now DeYoung, 1 of 2. Bailey has only retired 9 batters so far in this game, and 2 of the 9 gave themselves up for a sacrifice bunt, and we're in the 4th inning. Another was picked off. That's a live ball. It's a hit, and that'll be an infield hit for DeYoung.
Normally, that's a ball that Tucker Barnhart takes immediately. He broke to the ball to get it. And you see Tucker stop for a moment, and that was the killer.
Luis Alberto Bonilla was up back in that 2nd inning, and he is up and throwing again now in the Reds bullpen. The Cardinals have the bases loaded, and Mac Jenkins will trot out to the dugout. Out of the dugout to visit Bailey on the mound.
Bonilla's already been up once, so you would not think that it would take him long to get loose. But in a 5-3 ball game, you just really can't afford to allow the Cardinals to blow this thing open here in only the 4th inning.
There's Mac heading back to the dugout. So they are loaded for J.D. Martinez. Reds hoping for a double play ball. Bailey pitched out of a big time jam in the last inning. That's when the Cardinals had 2nd and 3rd and only 1 out. He got Wong on a pop up and got Grichuk to end the inning.
Martinez is going to swing if it's close.
He appears to be a guy with limited time we have seen him, but when you put guys on base, he really wants to swing the bat.
Well, he swung there as if to hit a grand slam. That was an uppercut swing. I mean, watch how this bat comes through the strike zone. See where those eyes are? They're looking in the upper deck. He was looking for the ball.
Oh, he tags this one into deep right field, and that is a grand slam.
He was not swinging for a single.
No. You pointed out the big swing and a miss in the eyes. This time he kept his head right on the ball and clears him with a laser into right center. First time in his career he's hit the lottery, so to speak.
Split-fingered fastball. It did not go down. It just kind of rolled in there. And Martinez didn't miss that one.
So 4 runs in the Cardinals' 2nd inning. They get 5 runs so far and batting with only 1 out in the 4th. Really, Homer Bailey's start so far this year, and look, he's basically missed 2 years. So, I mean, he's still trying to find his way and get back to where he once was. Not that it's been in every other game sort of proposition in terms of success or lack thereof by Bailey. I wonder if he injured himself right there at all. He bent way down and then flexed his knee a couple of times. Now he's bending over one more time out on the mound.
Looked like his front foot slid just a little bit as he landed. You could see him look down quickly. That ball took off in towards Molina.
I'd imagine that's all. Brian Price will come get him. That'll be the 10th hit that Bailey is allowed in 3 1/3 innings. That's it. This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Bonilla comes on. We're back in a moment.
He's finished. He's mopped up. He's set up. And I guess that's really what brings the value for this guy. He can pitch anywhere at any time.
Yeah. Tell you what, he turned in one of the best starting pitching performances this Reds team has had the entire year, and strangely enough, it was in a loss out in San Francisco. Complete game. Got beat 3-1. Five runs home so far. One out, runner at first, and here's Colton Wong, the 8th man to bat in this inning. It started with a 4-pitch walk to the pitcher, Greg Garcia.
Another ball game for the Cardinals in which it's been a struggle for Adam Wainwright, but yet they put 9 runs on the board here early. And I would bet that manager Mike Matheny is going to do whatever he can to try to get the veteran starter through 5.
Well, they left him in after a leadoff walk to bunt, which he did successfully for the 2nd time in the game. Well, we asked the question, how do you win 11 games with an ERA of almost 5? We might be getting a look at that today. But in fairness to Wainwright, as bad as he was in the 1st inning, he hasn't had a perfect inning in the game. He's issued 2 out walks in both the 2nd and the 3rd, but he's gotten a lot tougher to hit. The only hard hit ball since the home run by Votto, and you could even make an argument that ball was certainly not killed. In most ballparks in Major League Baseball, Votto's home run is not a home run. So, you know, you look at the rest of that inning. He walked a batter. He allowed that pop-up single to Scooter Gennett that dropped between the right fielder and the 2nd baseman. The hardest hit ball since a Votto home run was a line out by Barnhart to end the 3rd inning. That has not been the story for the Cardinal batters. They are hitting rockets everywhere. And there's another one by Wall.
Well, if you're in the Reds dugout and you have a general expectation that Wainwright is going to try to get through the next 2 innings, it would benefit you as a pitcher to get some quick outs, hold the game where it is right now, even though it's a 6-run lead. You get to that Cardinal bullpen early, you give yourself a chance. You still got quite a bit of game left here. Should tell you how the batters from both clubs are swinging the bats today. We've had a combined 4 strikeouts in the ball game for both teams. These guys are up there hacking.
And 2 to count on Randall Grichuk before that slider misses down and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. We are just in the top of the 4th inning with 1 out.
And the 9th batter at the plate of this inning.
Cardinals sent 8 to the plate, the 4-run 2nd, as Grichuk is out of there on strikes for out number 2. Well, here's a man who started the inning with a 4-pitch walk, the number 8 hitter, Garcia.
You know, I take back my earlier statement.
About what?
Wainwright. I think he's done. I think the only reason he came to the plate in this inning earlier was just a bunt. I think it's Saranara.
Well, they just do move Voit out to the on-deck circle. That is a pitcher spot next.
And I wouldn't say that Wainwright would want to run up there and bunt with it being 2 outs right now.
No, but they might let him hit. And give him one more. You never know. Give him one more inning out there. They pulled a starter the other day, though, after 4 innings because they were having such a hard time scoring runs. That's not the story today.
I think they're going to try to run Voit up there if Garcia gets on and try to hit a 5-run homer. Yeah. You got it.
3 balls and 2 strikes on Garcia. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. The number 8 hitter has walked twice in this inning. And you said it, Cowboy. They're going to go ahead and run Voit up there and try to really kick in the door, even though there's a long way to go, as Cowboy mentioned. We're only in the 4th inning, but you know, 6-run deficit right now. You got a lot of time. You never know. Couple here, couple there. Now you get a hit. Tying run comes to the plate, maybe in the 7th or the 8th. But any more than this, and it makes it tough.
Yeah, you watch Voit at the plate. I mean, this guy is massive. Normally, you got his big guy with a bat wrapped over his head. He's got the bat right at his back right shoulder, even lower than that. I mean, he's just looking to lift and separate. Alberto Bonilla got no place to put him. The further you fall behind in the count, the more you allow Voit to just keyhole you.
He may have helped you a little bit right there. That fastball appeared to be up in the strike zone.
He hit it off the end of the bat. May have.
He did.
Snapped his bat. When you're swinging at pitches like that and it's 9-3, you're in launch mode.
Well, especially anything that's straight. I mean, a fastball, this guy might twist himself into the ground if he gets 1-2-2, which he did, and he hammers it down the right field line, and this will bring in more. That's a fair ball. Ground rule double. That'll play 2 more. And that makes it an 11-3 St. Louis lead here in the 4th inning. 10 runs charged to Homer Bailey today. And all 10 runs are earned runs in 3 1/3. That's the most runs Bailey has given up in a game this year. He's had others of 8, twice, 7, and 6. In fact, it's
I don't know if he's ever given up that many.
Most runs he's ever allowed in his major league career. But as we mentioned, a 3rd time this year, he's allowed 8 or more.
I think Brian is going to ask the umpires to check and see if that ball actually hit foul, not fair. I believe that might have been a foul ball.
All it has to do is touch any part of that white line.
Any part of it.
And it looks like
but we didn't see any chalk move at all, and that is lime all the way down that line.
all right, we'll sit back and relax a little bit while they
let New York do their thing.
Yeah, figure it out.
It's one of those plays where you get that zoom in camera, check it out. But it sure seemed to have a bit of dirt between the line, and they're going to give him a double.
Call stands. Now that one looks like it may have gotten some white.
I agree. But when they say stands, and not positive.
Yeah, it just means they don't see anything that can overturn it. Confirm means no doubt about it. We agree. Stands, no video evidence that could prove otherwise. A 7-run Cardinal fourth inning. Runners at second and third base, and a big shift put on Carpenter, as maybe he'll be forced to swing the bat in this trip to the plate. 0 for 2 in the game. He walked and scored in this inning. I mentioned the Reds have either walked or hit Carpenter in 6 plate appearances through the first 2.5 games of this series. That's a fair ball, no doubt about that one. Into the corner. That'll score 2 more runs. A 9-run fourth. Carpenter on his way to third with a 2-run triple. The ball gets away. He'll stay put.
This has turned out to be a not so pretty inning. And that's putting it mild.
Well, I get ready to say, don't hedge your bet at all on that one. 9 hits allowed by Bailey to finish out the numbers on his afternoon. He walked 4 batters in 3 1/3 innings. And struck out 3.
This is where the scoreboard operator is in a conundrum, because if the Cardinals score another run, there's no way to put a 10 on the board in the 4th inning.
The Reds led this game at 1 point 3-0.
With the bases loaded and nobody out after leading 3-0.
Yeah, you made a comment at the time, and that was a huge double play that Winker bounced into. It was a great play made by Carpenter. In fairness, at first he fielded the 2-hopper, touched the bag, threw on the run a perfect strike to Molina at the plate to tag out the sliding runner Duvall. They intentionally walked Barnhart to load him again, and got a strike out of the pitcher, the 9th man to bat in the 1st inning.
Well, I go back to, you get a starting pitcher wobbling a little bit, don't let him step back and take a deep breath. Knock him out.
And I beg your pardon, Bailey allowed 10 hits in 3 1/3 innings, not 9. Although I think it's 9. I thought he allowed 5 in the 2nd inning. No, it's 10. 10 is correct. Because he allowed 1 hit in the 3rd before 4 straight hits in the 4th inning. And mercifully, this inning is over. Turn the page. Simply turn the page. From the Bridgestone Invitational in Akron, plus tips to bring down your score. The Golf Zone tips off tonight at 8 on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go. The 9 runs allowed in an inning in the top of this 4th inning today, the most since the Reds gave up 10 in Denver back on July the 26th, 2015, when they gave up 10 runs in the Colorado 3rd. Brett Cecil takes over on the mound. Wainwright last all of 3 innings. He cannot win it, obviously, but it looked like for a little while there he had a legitimate chance to lose it. He walked 5 batters, 1 intentionally, and struck out only 1. That was the pitcher Homer Bailey. Bonilla will bat to begin the Reds' 4th.
Look, you scored 3 runs in the 1st inning. Your first 6 batters reach base. You say that's pretty good. Yeah, it is. But when you have a pitcher like Wainwright on the ropes, you just really want to take advantage of that. And that ground ball to the first baseman Carpenter. Now, he made a nice play on it, turned it into a double play, but that was really a little bit of an energizer because it looked like things were just going to evaporate for Adam Wainwright. But that double play kind of re-energized the club. You could really hear them as the Cardinals came back into the 3rd base dugout, and boy, did they answer.
Those were the things that used to happen regularly to the Reds against these Cardinals for a long time until about the last calendar year, when the Reds have started to, move things in a better direction against St. Louis after being just, if not embarrassed, certainly dominated for a long time, nearly an entire decade, even when the Reds had good teams. And now the Reds coming in and won 15 of the last 25. 12 of the last 19. Heck, they've won 6 of the last 8. Lost to them for the first time at home this year last night. But for the Cardinals today, a lot like old times. He out on strikes to begin the fourth inning.
Go back to that sweep that the Reds had here against the Cardinals in a 4-game series. A 4-game sweep against the Cardinals.
Yep.
Doesn't happen often. But they only gave up 9 runs in those 4 ball games. Now granted, the Reds scored a lot of runs. They did well, but you keep the Cardinals off the board, your hitters can relax and just go to town, and they did.
Well, you mentioned 9 runs allowed in the 4-game series. Cardinals just got 9 runs in the 4th inning. Here's Billy. 0-2. Cardinals are hoping for better things from Cecil the remainder of this year than what they got in the first half of the year, because they spent a king's ransom to bring in this left-hander to shore up their bullpen, and it has not been a good sign so far. They've got a number of years left on that contract. 1 away in the inning. 2 away. We're wondering if Billy Hamilton hasn't hurt himself maybe again. It's a couple swings ago. That's not a good sign.
Anytime that you reach back in that oblique back area, especially when you have a full swing at a changeup and you come up empty. Saw him turn the foot backwards on a slide out in center field earlier.
Well, now Jim Riggleman is grabbing a hold of Patrick Kivlahan. I wonder if we're going to see some shuffling around and maybe Hamilton come out of this game. Kivlahan will go down and start stretching out a little bit. To the shortstop. And a 1-2-3 inning for the pitcher Cecil. First time either pitcher, any pitcher in this game has done that today. We played 4. 13-3 Cardinals in front. Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford. Go further. Always send a special hello to those watching over at Cincinnati Children's. We sure hope you're having a good day today. Pray it's the best one yet. A couple of big birthdays we'd like to send out today. Helen Surrey, birthday number 100 today. She lives in Louisville, Kentucky. Now listen to this. She is celebrating watching the game in Louisville today with her 4 children. They've got to be like in their 70s, right? Here's a fly ball to right. Maybe they're 80s. Who knows, right? She has 11 grandchildren with her. They've got to be in their 40s or 50s. 14 great-grandchildren. They've got to be in their 20s and 30s. Oh, and did I mention one great-great-grandchild?
Well, with all those folks, that's got to be one heck of a cake.
You got debt rate. So Helen Surrey in Louisville, Kentucky. They say she loves watching the Reds, loves Billy Hamilton. If she misses any part of the game, she'll watch it the next day on a replay. Helen, God bless you, young lady. Happy number 100. Another special birthday today. Donzetta Nuxall, the widow of the late great Joe Nuxall, a couple of days ago turned 89.
Great lady. Great lady.
Great lady is right. Known her since I was 10. What a lady. And then Millie Miller from Middletown. Where else would Millie Miller be from? That is Seg Dennison from 700 WLW. That's his mother-in-law. 90 today. There's a lot going on here. It's good stuff.
You know, I'm thinking about that cake with Miss Surrey. There's only 4 corners. If you have that big, you got to have a big cake for a party like that. There's only 4 corners. I like the corner of the cake.
You do?
Because I like that, all that.
I was going to say, you like that extra icing on there.
Oh, yeah. I may have to get in line.
So, like, you know, when you know, Mason just had a birthday recently, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so on his birthday, when whether it's you or Ashley or whatever, and you were there for his birthday.
Yes.
This year. Okay, so when it comes time to picking out the cake, 2 questions. 1, do you pick the cake that you like or that he likes?
No, he picks it. Actually, now, because of all the cake makers that are out there, I mean, it's kind of a work of art. He just says what kind of cake he wants, and they make it.
Okay, so that's the first question, and you've answered it. The second question is, after Mason has blown out the candles, and you can blow out the candles on Martinez. 2 up, 2 down here in the 5th inning. When it comes time to cutting the cake and eating the cake,
Right.
do you make sure that you give Mason like one of the parts in the middle so you can get one of the corners?
No, he gets to get the piece of cake that he wants, but Ashley is the one that cuts the cake, and she knows what piece I like. And there might be 14 people in a row, but the Cowboys piece is set over to the side. You know what I'm saying?
I speak English and I can hear. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but do you speak Southern? That's the difference.
High fly ball, and that's fouled out of play. What kind of cake did Mason pick this year? Do you remember that?
Baseball field.
Baseball field. Yeah, but I mean, what kind of cake? I mean, was it a vanilla cake? Was it an ice cream cake? Was it a chocolate cake?
White cake, white icing.
Nice.
Now Elizabeth, whole different category. She likes chocolate on chocolate on chocolate with a little bit of fudge in the middle. you know.
That's a 1-2-3 inning. Nice job by Bonilla. Middle of the 5th. Reds down 13-3.
Each and every broadcast here on Fox Sports Ohio. Tomorrow night, 6:30. First look at the lineups, Tom's tidbits, and more as the Reds welcome the San Diego Padres to town for the first of 4. If you're just joining us, it'll be Tim Adelman making the start tomorrow as Robert Stevenson goes on the 10-day disabled list. Jhoulys Chacín will face Adelman again, 6:30 for Reds Live.
And Jim Day rarely ever makes a mistake, and so I almost feel reluctant to correct him. But of course, with Tim Adelman on the mound, he meant Tim's tidbits. So we'll find out what Jim has in store with Tim Adelman sometime tomorrow. Jim Day's all over everything down there, so I'm sure he's coming up with something even as we speak right now.
No, I meant Tom. T-H-O-M.
I think we're having some technical difficulties down there right now with Jim Day's microphone, and we'll be working on that regularly. In fact, we'll see if it works at all over the next 3 days with the San Diego Padres coming to town. We were a little concerned about you down there today, Jim. You were starting to break out your LL Bean attire with all the weather we were going to have, and now you're looking mighty sharp there in that plaid tie and suit you're wearing on this beautiful Sunday.
I'm the only dork in a suit and a tie down here field level. Only one.
DeYoung throws, and that's in the dirt. Boyd took over the last inning at first for Carpenter. He was unable to handle the bouncer as Kiblahan takes over for Joey Votto. And Kiblahan reaches. Votto extended his hitting streak to 11 games today with a 3-run home run. He also drew a walk. During Votto's 11-game hitting streak, I mean, the numbers are just, they're incredible. We showed you some of them before the game, but if you include the home run and the walk that he drew today, he's batting .485. There's a base hit in the left by Duvall. But the on-base percentage during the 11-game hitting streak is .630 for Joey Votto.
Ball games for a hitter, whether you're winning 13-3 or losing 13-3. Every at-bat counts, and you've got to figure out a way to mentally lock in as though the score is 4-3. Because it would be very easily to finish out the ball game 0 for your last 2, 0 for your last 3. Or you can continue to pump up that average. They all count.
0-1 count on Scooter Gennett. That's in the air, foul territory. That'll get out of play. Bottom of the third at Wrigley Field in Chicago. That's a rubber game of that weekend series between the Nationals and the Cubbies here. 1-1 in the third. They're moving right along in Tampa Bay. The Brewers and the Rays at 1-1 in the seventh. There's strike 3 called on Gennett. Second strikeout for Cecil. Now Eugenio Suarez,
who smoked the ball his last time up, but he hit it right at the third baseman, Greg Garcia.
Suarez walked his first time up before that line drive Jeff alluded to down to Garcia his last trip in the third inning. Runners at first and second base with one out in the inning. High fly ball left center field. Martinez back to the track with room. 2 out. Didn't miss it by much. Winker bounced into a double play with the bases loaded back in that opening inning. Drew a walk in the third. Comes up against the left-hander Cecil, and this is one of the things you were talking about when you talked about not giving away an at-bat. For a guy like Winker, this is a chance to work on hitting against a left-handed pitcher, a guy that later this year in a big situation or the coming years he might be facing Cecil out there with a game on the line. Jam shot roller down to third. Inning over. Red Strand 2 hits and to 5 all Cardinals so far.
Start your weekend off with a bang with Fireworks Fridays at the ballpark Friday, August 25th. Cheer on the Reds when they took on the Pirates for as low as $12. Plus, don't miss a spectacular postgame fireworks show presented by Great American Insurance Group. For tickets, visit Reds.com.
All right, here we go. The Cardinals come to bat in the 6th inning. It'll be Colton Wong to start things against Luis Alberto Bonilla. Cowboy, I know you were very impressed the way he threw the ball in that 5th inning, retiring 3 in a row with a couple of strikeouts, and Wong bangs one into right. That's his 3rd hit today.
Well, this is one of those ball games for whoever's on the mound. You saw Cecil come in, gave up a couple of quick hits in the 5th inning, but yet he was able to use that to get some adrenaline, got the next 3 batters out. You don't allow a run. The toughest part, I think, in this ball game is to create your own adrenaline in a game that's really spread out the way this is now. But you still have to make pitches. The runs, the hits, the at-bats, they all still count, and you've got to figure out how to do your job. This is where a pitcher that can pitch backwards, breaking balls early, fastballs late, really benefits, because every hitter that's coming up there right now is trying to just crush the ball. You're relaxed. It's a 13-3 game. Whether you're winning or losing, you're relaxed. You're just up there, see the ball, let me spin on it. If you can get a breaking ball over early, you get an automatic strike. Nobody wants to swing at that on a first pitch in a 13-3 game.
You know, here at the ballpark today, the longest running late night talk show host in the history of television is here today. Grew up in Indiana, attended Ball State University. It's hard to believe that's David Letterman now. My oh my, has he changed. Of course, if he shaved that beard, he looked like the old David Letterman. It was nice to have him with us here today. You know, I only bring him up because not only from the neighboring state of Indiana, but many will remember the Cincinnati-based talk show years and years and years and years ago on Channel 5, the Paul Dixon Show. We have a lot of guys on our crew that worked on that Paul Dixon show. I mean, it's very, very popular. Bob Braun had a show. Paul Dixon had a show. Hugely popular. In fact, so popular that the show would be picked up in a lot of cities in the region. One of those regions was Indianapolis. And David Letterman has always said he credits Paul Dixon for inspiring his choice of career moving forward. I'm sure that Paul Dixon's many friends and families in the area certainly appreciate hearing that. David Letterman started his career. Letterman started his career as a weatherman in Indianapolis, and the rest, as they say, is history. Nice to have him at the ballpark today.
I wonder if he grew that beard just to be a little incognito.
I bet you could go about anywhere with that beard and people have no idea who he is. Don't you think?
Yeah, when they first flashed it up there, I thought, that's not him. He's got a beard.
Ninth pitch coming in this at bat. And it's a high fly ball into right field. It'll be playable out there for Winker. And that's a first out here in the 6th inning.
Every spot in the Cardinal order 1 through 9 with a hit today. And I'll go one step further. Every spot in the Cardinal order 1 through 9 has scored a run.
Yes,
today.
Wainwright did not have a hit in that 9th hole, but when they hit for him, when that spot came up a second time in the 4th inning, it was Voigt who had a 2-run double down the right field line, and he would later score. don't know what it is today about Greg Garcia. He has walked 3 straight times. And Garcia's batting in the 230s on the year. Six walks by Reds pitching. Bailey walked 4. And Bonilla now has walked a pair. Here is Voit. Should be the second out of the inning as Winker is there. It is. Runners will stay put.
But you got to be able to throw a strike here.
Pitcher Brett Cecil batting for the first time. And Cecil quickly ahead in the count. 2 balls and no strikes. If you're wondering, Cecil does not have an at bat all year long.
I would not think in his years with the Toronto Blue Jays, that's where he was before he came to the Cardinals, that he had any at bats.
No, in fact, this is his first plate appearance since 2012. Had 2 at bats that year. I'll tell you one thing, though, there is no doubt, and you brought it up last night, you can watch this guy after 4 pitches. This guy is not afraid of the ball. He's not bailing and wailing. He's not up there with the bat on his shoulder trying to take a strike or take a walk or whatever it might be. I mean, that stride's going right at the pitcher. That one ran high and tight on him, and he just spun like you're supposed to, turned to the inside. 3-2 the count. I mean, you know it after 1 or 2 pitches.
It's pretty obvious.
Yes. 3-2 now on Cecil. Runners go. And a bouncer to the right side. And that will end the inning. Like swinging the bat but not running. Stephen Loy of Springfield, Ohio, will win the beautiful new Tundra at Great American Ballpark that you see every day. Register for your chance to have a shot at winning that baby. Just stop by your Cincinnati and/or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Big story around baseball. Another home run by the big fella for the Yankees. Aaron Judge, number 35 for him. And the Yankees all over the Tribe today. 8-1. That game now in the 7th. Base hit right field by Tucker Barnhart.
They all count. Alcantara.
He was in the on-deck circle when that game came to an end last night. The Reds were hoping to get him to the plate. Taps one to short. And on the first pitch Alcantara sees, he taps into a double play. Cecil beginning his 3rd inning of work. He's done a good job. He got himself into trouble in the 5th. Allowed consecutive singles to start it to Kivlahan and Duvall. Retired Jeanette Suarez Winker. And after a leadoff single here in the 6th, a double play ball off the bat of Alcantara. Jim Day will be standing by with Aaron Fisher here in a few minutes, talking about how you can raise a kid to be a Reds fan. Fly ball short right. And a 5-pitch inning for Cecil here. We go to the 7th. The Reds trail the Cardinals 13-3.
Great American Ballpark. We welcome back Aaron Fisher. She heads up the online initiative Raising a Reds fan. We're in the kid zone, and let's face it, you know this. It's hard to keep the youngsters' attention for a full baseball game, even a game like today. So this place is packed. There are lots of activities for kids out here.
It's great. The Reds do such an awesome job of really catering from birth. We took RJ here right when he was a 6-week-old baby, and they have the nursing suite here, which is amazing, where you can feed and change your baby. And then when they become toddlers, they're not going to sit for 3 hours. And so we have this great activity for kids that's right behind us. That's this jungle gym from Recreations Outlet. And then as they get a little older, they can go into our wiffle ball field. And so there's just great things in the fan zone for kids just to keep them, you know, engaged in the game. And what we do now that RJ is 8 years old is we go to the Reds clubhouse and pick up the scorecard. And we keep score during the game. So all ages, come out to the fan zone. There's something for everyone.
Well, I see the look in the kids' eyes that, one, they're occupied out here, and two, it gives the parents some relief. So you can come watch a game, come out here, go watch some more game, come out here. It's a perfect day for the family.
It's a perfect day for a family. Every Sunday, home game is Family Sundays. Come check it out. You're going to love it. It's a great time just to be together as a family, too.
Real quick, if people are just joining us, Raising a Reds Fan, how can they check you out online?
They can check us out on Facebook and on Pinterest. And I just want to give a shout out to PNC, our partner in this. Raising a Reds Fan would not happen without them. So thank you so much.
Well, it's a terrific initiative. And Tom and Cowboy, just talking to her, you can just, she's oozing with enthusiasm, and we love that. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you so much.
Jim, I told you that I've known Erin forever. She is the very definition and personification of enthusiasm. She is awesome.
No question about it.
Yeah.
No question.
Tell her I said hello.
Tom Brenneman says hello.
Oh, hi, and hello to Polly.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
She is
very
great.
nice.
Paul DeYoung, the batter, with one out. That was Arismendi Alcantara making that beautiful play out in left center field. Got off a great jump at the crack of the bat. Hey, that's the way we saw Alcantara play in spring training. Knocked down by Jeanette and unable to find the handle. It's got to be so hard, Cowboy, for guys like Alcantara. And he's not alone. Look, every team has him. But this year, you could have made an argument in spring training. And at the end of the day, do you get a trophy for it? Do you get an award for it? No, you don't. But the last 2 weeks of spring training, he was the best player on the Reds team. And he played everywhere. Played the infield, played the outfield, was getting 3, 4, 5 at bats seemingly every day. And since his season started, he never plays. I don't mean like every now and again. He never plays. Because this is by and large outside of the catcher's position. This has been a starting 7 that's been there virtually every single day. Play will in the inning. We'll keep it right here for the singing of God Bless America in the middle of the 7th inning. The Reds trail the Cardinals in the rubber game of this series, 13-3.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please stand, kindly remove your hats, and face the American flag. Major League Baseball, the Reds and the Cardinals salute the men and women of our armed forces, as well as those who serve to protect in our local police and fire departments. At this time, please help us honor these brave men and women and all our veterans of service, and welcome Josh Stewart as he leads us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
The defending world champions here at the ballpark, presented by Universal Forest Products. That series comes your way August 22nd, 23rd, and 24th here at the old ballpark. And don't forget, coming up Saturday, August 12th, we invite you to join the boys and girls clubs of Greater Cincinnati for their 3rd annual Sand Volleyball Classic. Co-ed teams of 8 are welcome to come on out, compete for a great cause. Register today at bgcgc.org. The Cowboy Jeff Brantley and Jim Day, along with our entire crew. Tom Brenneman welcoming you back to the ballpark. Reds trailing by a count of 13-3 as they bat in the 7th inning. And John Brebbia comes on from the St. Louis bullpen after 3 excellent shutout innings from Cecil.
About the numbers for Brebbia. A 2 ERA, even 2 in 24 appearances. He's only walked 4 batters in his 27 innings. I'd say that's making a name for yourself.
Yes, it is. Those 4 walks, that is really impressive indeed. And heck, 3 home runs allowed in 24 games. Cozart, his first game back in the lineup today. Had a base hit his first time up, 1 for 4. Today's game produced by Ken Weaver, directed by Roy Alfers. Our associate producers as we go around the horn, Lauren White and Kevin Penowit. Reds Live producer is Matt Sigafus. The coordinating producer of Reds Baseball, Bob Pennell. Our executive producer, Tom Farmer. Thank up here as always. On stats, Joe Lucca. And the man who runs the booth, Mr. Jesse Jackson. Jesse calls the shots up here. No 2 ways about that.
You got that right. Just glad he likes me.
You know, we're also elated to have Bob Gansmiller back in the press box. He's been running the press box at Old Riverfront Stadium or Great American Ballpark for so long. Went in, had a heart procedure, and thank the Lord they found it, because we were close to losing. But now he's back raring to go and stronger than ever, back in the entrance to the press box, and it's great to have Bob back. One of the all-time greats that many of you will never know and haven't heard of in and around this Reds franchise.
But those of us that are up here every day can't do our jobs without him.
That's right. One of the all-time best. That's the thing that's so interesting to, I think, so many of us who are blessed enough to be in this business is, you know, the first thing most people want to talk to you about, Cowboy, or my dad, or me, or, you know, somebody that has our job, or somebody close to our job, is they want to ask about this player or that player or this manager or who it might be. Hey, have you talked to a guy on that team or whatever it is? At the end of the day, the people most of us in this job will remember is there's a fly ball to right will not be the players. You remember the great careers they had. But the people you enjoy seeing are the ones that work in and around these ballparks, in this ballpark, every single day. Guys in the parking garage when we pull in. Bob and his entire staff down there. Charlie, all of them. You know, whether it's...
They make our lives easy.
Yeah, I mean, they're just great, regular, down-to-earth folks who are here trying to make a living. They do their job so exceptionally well. Guys that keep this ballpark up and running. You know, the electricians, plumbers, carpenters, all those guys here, the clubhouse guys. Rick Stowe on one side and his staff. Heck, Josh Stewart just sang God Bless America. He's part of his team down there.
So when you see people, they ask you about the players?
Well, you know, they'll say, hey, you know, what kind of guy is fill in the blank. You know what I mean? Especially, you know, kids you'll see around.
Most people ask me, can you really eat 8 scoops of ice cream?
They used to ask me that when you were doing that commercial all the time, but now you don't do it anymore. I need to talk to Linder about that, I reckon, right?
Yeah.
All right. Hooked into left field, and that is a foul ball. I mean, you were getting all kinds of people asking that question. And I did have a lot of people ask me that question about you.
They still ask me. Do you really take home those ribs after you eat? And you take home after? Yeah.
Well, my favorite line maybe you've ever uttered, and you've had so many hundreds of them through the years, and you and I both in our 11th season now announcing the Reds games. About the 2 meals you have at night. What are they?
One for tonight, one for midnight. Slab for tonight, slab for midnight. Montgomery Inn.
Since then, it has been all St. Louis. Cardinals get 4 runs on 5 hits against Homer Bailey in the second inning. They knock Bailey out of the game, who gives up a career-high 10 runs, all earned in 10 innings, or in 10 hits in 3 1/3 innings. And the Cardinals with a 9-run 4th inning lead, 13-3 as they bat here in inning number 8. Well, we understand that Jim Day is right where he belongs, hanging out down there with the aforementioned king of late night TV, Mr. David Letterman.
No question about it, and I know David Letterman and loving the Reds goes way back, as I do. What brings you to Great American Ballpark today?
Well, it's a long story. We should have started a few innings ago. My friend Bill Sheff is good friends with Drew Storen, and this is my new best friend Mike. And we're here. I used to go to games at Crosley, went to games at Riverfront. First time I've been here to the Great American Ballpark, and we hoped all of this would have coalesced into a better result. But nonetheless, we're enjoying ourselves, and the hospitality has been major league.
Well, your friend here to your right, yeah, Mike, he asked if I wanted him to move, and I said no, because you're the man. You've been sitting by David Letterman this whole game.
Right. No, Mike's not the problem. You are the guy we want to move.
You know what? I take that like a badge of honor.
Well, you're mistaken. And you live here in Cincinnati?
I do live here in Cincinnati.
What would you do to get this team back on its feet here?
Wow, you know what? I think you had a career of interviewing people, because you've turned this interview into an interview with me. I would trying to further develop starting pitching, Dave. It's all about the starting pitching. They've got a pretty good nucleus of hitters. They've improved their bullpen. They've got to find a way to get some of their veteran starting pitchers going, and some of these youngsters that they've invested in that they think is the future. They've got to step up their game, so it's all about starting pitching.
Mike, did you hear any of that?
Yeah, I certainly concur and agree.
There you go, Mike.
Mike concurs and agrees. Paul Dixon, Cincinnati.
Yeah, boy, I've got connections to this city that go way, way, way back when WLWI was Crosley and Paul Dixon and Ruth Lyons and on and on and on. It was great.
How is retirement treating you?
Did I get that right? As a WLW or
WLWT, I believe it was.
Station, the 700.
WLW, 700 WLW.
Where's WLWI?
You know what? It was WLWI in Indianapolis, I believe.
Oh, that's right. That's where I used to work.
Weather guy.
That's right.
Well, how is retirement treating you, my friend?
I think I can answer that.
Yeah, Bill can take that.
Well, you know what? You think we can do it on the other side of the break? Because we got to sell some things. You know how that is. All right, we'll be back with David Letterman and friend after this on Fox Sports Ohio. American ballpark, and you never know who's going to show up at a game, and we have been visiting with the king of late night, David Letterman, and right now actually Drew Storen's wife has come down here. You heard Dave talk about knowing Drew Storen, being here as part of knowing Drew Storen, so the wife is taking in some questions. Hey Dave, I know you've been going, you've had some banter back and forth. Votto, before he came out of the game, said, hey, thanks for being here, I'm being taken out of the game, and you and Scooter Gennett have been bantering.
It's very nice to us. We met them, a few of the players before the ball game, and I can't express to you how gracious the players, the team, the organization, and even the fans. Mike here is everything you want in a guy, honestly. I wish I was Mike.
I wish I was Mike too, because he's been sitting here for now 8 innings with you. Your love for baseball, it's one of the sports that you love?
Who doesn't love baseball? Yeah, for me, like today, if you're my age and have had heart surgery, you don't want too much excitement. So today has just been exactly where I need to be.
We appreciate that. Now, you've tried to avoid people like me. Does the beard help in that regard?
No, it was a huge mistake, but I'm not taking it off. Oh, here we go. Almost.
It was a huge mistake, but you're not taking it off?
No, I'm not taking it off because I would frighten my family.
All right. Now, I asked you, Dave, about retirement, and you did not want to answer the question, so I'm bringing your friend in for this answer.
My name is Bill Shept. I worked for this man for 25 years,
And I want to say that he's eased into retirement like you've never seen. And a lot of credit goes to Joe Nuxhall because like Joe, every night he goes home and eats an entire block of Cracker Barrel cheese, as Joe used to do after every Reds.
And a 6-pack of Michelob. That's right.
That's what he's doing in retirement.
Is there ever a better combination? Al Michaels and Joe Nuxhall, every game, 162 games plus spring training every night on WLW. Oh, fantastic.
Wow. So I have that to look forward to in retirement.
It's the full block. Yeah, not the little pieces yet. It cheddar, the full block of Cracker Barrel and a 6-pack of Michelob.
Question.
There's not a day goes by that we don't miss the old left-hander. How about the home run, Dave?
Yeah, all right. Really?
All right. Fireworks will send this.
Did we win?
No, they just
Jim, there's
send
no
out the
way you're
fireworks on
throwing
home
this.
run.
Hey, Jim, there's no way you're throwing this back up here to be in Cowboy right now. There's no way that's happening.
For your time, nice meeting you.
Well, maybe there is a chance.
It's very nice meeting you too as well, Dave. The boys in the booth said no way we're ending this, but Dave, you just ended that in classic Letterman fashion, and we thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
I think he's had enough of me, Tom.
Boy, that was great stuff. That was great stuff. We thank Jim Day for going down there and catching up with David Letterman and him for being such a good sport. He's just having a little fun with Jim down there. That's who he is.
Very nice to meet you. Beat it. Well, he started a rally at least.
That was funny stuff. Well, what a run he had there. You know, he was a guy that, of all the people that used to fill in, of course, for Johnny Carson going way back on the Late Show. The Tonight Show was called on NBC in those days. And, you know, it was Letterman and the guy who turned out to be, of course, his big rival for a long time, Jay Leno. Those were the two guys of choice for Johnny Carson to replace him on nights when he would miss. And ultimately, it would be NBC deciding on Leno rather than Letterman. He stayed there, and he was after Leno really late at night before jumping over to CBS for an incredible run. And nice to have him in the ballpark today, and his friend Mike. New friend, Mike. The guy that he wants to be.
That's the part about baseball. No matter how many tickets you buy, ultimately there's going to be someone that you may not have met before sitting around you.
You're right.
But you know immediately upon looking at them whether they have on a red shirt or a Cardinal shirt whether they're going to be your friend or not.
That part you can figure out right quick, although it was so cute. I've got a little boy today. Now, I mean, make no mistake, when you hear this story, you will know he is a straight front runner from the word go. But I saw this little kid cutting through stands today. He's got on his red shirt. And I said, all right, young man, I said, you ready to get the Reds a win? He said, I am. I am. He said, but if for some reason they fall behind, I can take off this shirt, I can turn it inside out and say, go Cardinals. I said, there's no way you're going to do that. And his dad, I mean to tell you, he was laughing so hard at the whole exchange, and it was really cute. I brought up earlier that Arismendi Alcantara never plays. That does not hold a candle to Stuart Turner. That would not do him justice saying he never plays. He has not had 15 at bats since the month of April.
Well, the Reds see a lot of promise in this kid. Rule 5 draft taken off the Minnesota Twins roster. He was in spring training, made the club. Of course, Mesoraco was on the DL at the time.
Out of there swinging, the Reds are finished in the 8th inning, and the home run by Suarez, and we go to the 9th. 13-4 St. Louis. Your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices at Kroger. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Drew Storen.
This guy's really had a nice bounce back here. We talked about it the other night. Saw him for an inning and a third of one-hit scoreless baseball on Friday. That was when Storen, along with Peralta, Lorenzen, and Iglesias, closed out that 3-2 win. Here's Garcia. Perfect day for him. An RBI double, 3 walks, 2 runs scored. And hooked into right field, out number 1. Shackelford did a nice job today, and some might say, hey, look, you know, it's a blowout game. Well, when you're a young guy trying to establish yourself in the big leagues, there's nothing wrong with 2 innings of one-hit shutout baseball, and you don't walk about it.
I agree. You're just trying to get a guy in a ball game in a lower pressure situation. Get a feel for the mound, get a feel for the hitters that you're facing. Still big league hitters, and you still got to get them out.
Oh, and won the count on Voit, who came on very early in this game, being pinch hit for Wainwright, going all the way back to that 9-run 4th inning.
Every young pitcher that Brian Price runs out there, he's trying to find some way to build the confidence of that kid so that as he matures as a pitcher, you hope he matures as a pitcher. The tougher the situations, they'll be able to handle it a little bit more because they have confidence in putting a couple of zeros on the board like Shackelford did today.
Straight up in the air. Boy, that is a mile up in the air. Is there room? No. Out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On swinging on a breaking ball is Voigt. Brewers lost their game today 2-1. Tight one down in St. Pete. Mentioned when the day began after both teams won yesterday, the Cubs were a half game better than Milwaukee for the top spot in the NL Central going into play today. You think Milwaukee hang in there?
I think that they will. I think they've got enough starting pitching. The key for that club is, can they find that offensive resurgence that they had early in the season? I mean, they were just basically just beating other teams up, just flat out scoring them.
I was surprised they weren't more of a major player at the trade deadline. They're drawing really, really well again. You know, I know that they're in a position, you know, let's say the Reds were in that position right now, where you go into a year thinking you're a rebuilding team. And I've always said, if you don't think you can win the World Series by making a deal, don't make the deal. So I'm not being, you know, I'm not being critical in any way, shape, or form, or hypocritical of the Brewers not making a move, because I think all of us agree. When stacked up in a 7-game series or best of 7 against the Nationals or the Dodgers or the Cubs or maybe even Arizona and Colorado for that matter, you would probably, as Milwaukee, be an underdog in all of those series going in, right? So, you know, because you beat an American League team. So to not make the deal in a rebuilding year and give up some guys that you're counting on down the road for maybe a rental player for a couple of months, I get it. But I still thought they might do something to give them just a little bit of an edge to really push the Cubs a little bit.
A little bit of spark of hope.
The Brewers are averaging almost 30,000 fans per, or I'm sorry, they are averaging almost 31,000 fans per game. That is a fair ball, and the ball girl down there picked it up. I bet she's a softball player now.
When she caught that ball, she almost rolled it back out on the field as if to say, oh, here it is. Watch this as she catches the ball right over the top of the bag. She realizes, oh, no, I can't roll it back out there.
She was about to feed the second baseman on the double play. Did you see that?
Flip it on out to Duvall.
Look, watch this. Here we go. Going to start the double. Tell you what, we've had some big time plays down there by the guys and the ladies. Nicely done, young lady. It would have been a double anyway. Just took less time to get every back where they should have been.
She's standing down the line. She's sitting down the line too. Maybe she thought it was foul.
Well, it's a double by the pinch hitter Piscotty. And here's Pham. There's a high pop-up that should end the inning. The play of the inning made by that young lady down the left field line. Good for her, and a good inning for Storen. On the Pirates Saturday, April the 26th. Come on down early. One of the first 20,000 fans through the gates, and you'll take home a Homer Bailey bobblehead in a camo jersey. That's presented by our friends at Coca-Cola. Catch all the action for as low as $12 for tickets. Visit Reds.com. Matt Bowman takes over on the mound, trying to get the final 3 outs. Hard hit ball by Alcantara. Nice play at first by Boyd. Big fella made a nice play right there. Alcantara hit that ball right on the nose. Big man actually just knocked that thing down. Stay with it.
Well, at first base, a lot of times, if you can get to the ball and knock it down, you've got a pitcher covering. If that pitcher knows what he's supposed to be doing, any ball hit to the right side, you're supposed to be moving to first anyway. And Bowman standing right there.
It's one of the plays that has been a poster child for this Cardinal team this year. There was a play recently where big situation, and Carpenter fielded the ball, their regular first baseman. The pitcher did not cover the bag, and it got pretty ugly on the field and apparently after the game. And this Cardinal team with a win here today will go to 55-56. They have had 6 chances since early June. That was the last time they were at 500. They have had 6 chances to get back to the 500 mark, and they are 0-6 in each of those games. They have a road trip which will continue tomorrow night, playing their in-state rivals in a 4-game series, and they do that like we do with the Indians. They play 2 games in Kansas City, and then they turn around and play 2 games in St. Louis. On the ground to second base, and the Reds are down to their final out. Nice to have Cozart back in the lineup. I would imagine he'll get a couple of starts. I don't know about 3 of them against San Diego. Just coming off the disabled list. Played today. Maybe start 2 of the 4. What do you think?
I would think so. Or maybe start the first 2, have a day off, and then start the last one.
Nice play made down there. A fella brought his mitt. He's been sitting here for over 3+ hours, and then you get the one chance, Cowboy. You got to make the most of your one shot. Look at that.
Don't drop it back on the field.
And this ought to wrap up the game and the series. It will. Cardinals lose the opener by a run, but they come back and win the final 2. 4-1 last night and a drilling today of 13-4. Follow each and every Reds game right here on Fox Sports Ohio. And then, of course, stick around after the game for Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. We'll break it all down, and that'll be coming up. It's coming up right now. Cardinals winning 13-4.